Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we've got a great Divi hover effect for you today. We've got a little image there with a title and an icon. When we hover over, it's going to spin in a call to action button. Really easy to do, no coding or plugins used for this today. And that's a great little feature to have on your site. These hover effects that we've been working on here, have a look at the hover effects playlist below if you want to learn more about it. These have all been inspired by a great plugin called Divi Image Hover Effects. And I bought it, really happy with it, and created all these hover effects and image swaps and things here really quickly with it. And I'll put the link below the video if anybody wants to check it out. You get 250 of these hover effects for $90. Really good value for money. Like I say, I bought it, I was really happy with it. But we're not using it today. We're doing this completely from scratch. Like I say, no plugins, no coding. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is enable the Visual Builder. Okay, great. Well, let's just go down to where we want to go. And I've got a section here with a row in it with 2 columns. And the way this is working today is the actual image of the guy with the magnifying glass is sitting in the column of the row. And I've got a couple of modules on top. One's a call to action button and one is a blurb with the icon up there. We've got to do a little tweaking to make this all work, but it's really easy to do. So first things first, let's put our image in the column. And we've got nothing in the column itself, so you probably won't see it. So let's go into our row. Here's our 2 columns, 1, 2. We want to work on number 2. So I'm going to grab the column. I'm going to add a background image. Got color, gradient, image or video. Select your image. There's our chap with the magnifying glass there. And like I say, we've got no content, so you can't see it at the moment. Okay. Well, let's start adding our modules now. We'll save the row settings. And I'm going to use a blurb module for the top one with a little icon up there. Obviously you use whatever is appropriate for you. Put in whatever you want your title to say. And I'm not going to use any content. I'm going to delete all the content here. So I really just want the title and an icon. So just down below the content here, we've got image and icon. I'm going to hit use icon. And for this particular one, I'm going to find a magnifying glass. There we go, that'll do fine. As you can see, it's popped it up there. Now we've got a bit of content, we can start to see our little image in the background there. If you want to link it to something, you can do so right here. From this particular case, I don't want to do that today. And I'm not going to put a background in. All I'm going to do, I'm going to go design, image and icon. I'm going to change the color of that. And I want to take it down a little bit in size, so I'm going to roll down just a bit, icon font size. I'm going to take it down just so it's a bit smaller. Something like that. Great. Can't remember what size we had there. Let's just take it down so it's similar to our one next door. There we go, that's fine. Okay. The text itself, well, I can't see anything, so I want to make the text light so we can actually see it. I've just gone into the text under the design again here. I'm going to make that light. There it is. Let's perhaps make it bold. So it's our title text just down below. I'm going to make it bold. And I want to pop it in the middle. And let's just bring it up slightly in size. Something like that. Obviously you make yours just exactly how you want. Okay, well I'm not going to put any padding on the bottom, but I do want a bit on the top just to pull that magnifying glass down a little bit. So I'm going to roll down to spacing down below here. And on the top, I'm just going to put 30 pixels. Just put in the 30, it'll put in the pixels for you. Great. Okay, well let's save this. That's there. But my image in the background, I really want it to be aligned top. At the moment it's sort of aligned center, so we're sort of seeing the middle of his face. I want it to be aligned to the top of the image. So let's go back into our column. Go back into column 2 that we were working on here. It's the background. And we'll go to image. And if we roll down a bit, background image position, I'm going to put it top center. Top center, there we go. There we go, so we got the top of the picture up there. And we'll just save this. Save the main row changes. Okay, let's add our second module, and for this I want a button, but I can't just use a button module purely for the spacing that we're going to do in a minute. So I'm going to use a call to action module. So I'm going to hit the little button to add a new module. Divi comes as standard with all these light grey modules here, and there's plenty enough to build just about any site. I'm going to add call to action, and there it is right there. As you can see, it's got a background color in it, which is fine at the moment. Well, I don't want any title, so I'm going to delete the title. Do want a button, and we'll say contact us today, or whatever your button wants to say, obviously. Down below in the body, I just want something that says let us help or something like that. As you can see there's the let us help. No button. Button won't actually show up till we put a link for it in, and that's just down below here on the content tab. So put your button link URL in there. I've just got a hashtag. I haven't got anywhere for it to go really. And there's the button. Now, if you want it to show up in the same window, which is best practice if you're linking to your own site, leave it like it is. If you're linking elsewhere off-site, open it in a new tab so that your site stays open. Now, if you want the module itself to link to somewhere else, you can put another link in here and have two different links for the button and the whole module itself, or actually this module, just the sort of bluey green one there. But I'm going to leave that as it is. I just want the button to be active. I'm going to leave that background in for a minute because I want to size this so that this actually covers most of our column here. That way when we hover over it, when we do our hover effect in a minute, it can be triggered pretty much anywhere that they put their mouse over the column. So let's go over to our design, and I'm going to add some padding. So I'm going to go down to spacing. So I'm going to try 150 top and bottom. Can't remember exactly what I did next door, but we'll tweak it. And what I want to do is slide this up so this is a lot closer to here, and this blue section sort of covers most of our column background up there. So I'm going to offset it by giving it a negative margin on the top. So I'm going to flip the little arrow, so we've got -1. I'm going to just add 50 after that. There we go, and that's popped it up pretty much covering the whole thing. I mean, you can tweak it to cover the whole thing, that's entirely up to you. Let's try just pulling it up in size a little bit, say 155, and we'll add this one. Remember, if you're negative, you've got to go down to make the number go higher. As you can see, it's covering more as we go up there. That's close enough. I mean, we can do it exactly if you want to, just using the little arrows right here. So as you can see, that's pretty much covering the whole thing. If I go into the background now and take the opacity away, we're going to take the background color away, we'll see where the icon and title is. That's above there, right there. So that's pretty much fine because this is going to spin in and we'll see it just below right there. But because we've covered our whole column there, anywhere that they go over here will activate this hover effect. And of course on tablets and phone, they'll just have to tap and it'll do exactly the same thing. You could copy it if you wanted to for tablet and phone using visibility, and say on phone just use these, and on the copy you could have tap here instead of let us help, or tap using the content below there if you wanted to tell them to tap on it. Okay, well great, well let's get rid of this background color completely now. So we'll go in there, hit the trash can. There we go, that's what we want. But I don't want to see the button and the let us help until they hover over it, and when they do hover over it, I want it to sort of spin in, rotate in. So let's go over to our design tab. I'm going to go down to transform down here, and we can use some of the transform effects they've got. And the one I want today is rotate. So I'm going to sort of rotate it almost negative 360. I know it looks like I've just done it 14 degrees, but it's going to spin back in and go like this. So to make the actual hover effect, let's go up to our dark writing here, and this is common to most Divi modules. Hit the little arrow icon. There's the desktop. That's how we want it initially. And then when they hover over it, I want it to spin round and be exactly the right side up, so 0 degrees basically. And again, you can up and down with the little arrows here if you need to fine tune it. Great. And the other thing is I don't want to see it, so it wants to be invisible. So while we're on the design, let's shut up the transform, and we'll go to filters just above it, roll down a bit, and you're going to find opacity, and that's transparency or see-throughness. Again, we want to set a hover state, so we're going to click the little arrow to bring up the desktop when your mouse is not on it, and hover when your mouse is on it. Now when we hover it wants to be 100% visible, like that. When the mouse is not on it on desktop view, we want to be completely invisible. Just like that. So it's still there, it's still taking up the real estate, which is dictating the height of the column there, but you just can't see it, it's transparent. Make sure we've got the correct value here. No, that wants to be 100 and that wants to be 0. Now the time it takes to go from this state to this state by default with Divi is 300 milliseconds. I'm going to slow it down for a bit of drama, and to do that, hit the Advanced tab, and we'll go down to Transitions. Here's the duration, there's the default 300. I'm going to take mine up to about 3/4 of a second, somewhere around there. No delay, want it to happen straight away that the mouse hits it. And my speed curve I like to use for these is ease in and ease out. They're all slightly different, check them out. But for my hover effects, ease in, ease out seems to work best. Okay, well, let's save that. The only other thing I want to do is I think when we hover over it, I'd like that image just to fade into the background a little bit. So I can put an overlay in the column just for the hover state. So let's go back into our column. So I'll go into the row, the green tab, column number 2 again. And for a background, I'm going to use a color, but I just want it on the hover state. So again, we're going to go up to the dark writing, hit the arrow, desktop, don't want anything, hover, I'm going to make it black. But I don't want it fully black, I want it about 3/4. So I'm going to pull the opacity down. I just clicked on the color and I'm going to grab this little opacity slider on the right hand side here and take it down about there. So we've got nothing, and we should have a bit of an overlay there when I do that. And again, timing wise, I'm going to put the same timing on as we've got for our module there. So that's transitions, so under the Advanced tab, around 750. Ease in, ease out. Okay, if we've done everything correctly now, save that and save our page changes. It should work. Let's exit the Visual Builder. There it is, and I'm going to hover over. Okay, everything's working, but that's not spinning as much as I'd like to, and we're not getting our hover effect on our column, so let's just check that. Will it re-enable the builder? First thing, let's correct the spin. So we'll go into our call to action module here. Design. Transform. Here's our spin that we used before. See on desktop. Let's put this all the way around that way, so it's going to spin back round this way. I think it's, well, that should correct that spin. That's better. As you can see, it's got a nice twist to it now. And for some reason our column is not darkening out on hover, so let's go back into the column. number 2, background, color. On hover, we've got the color in there, but all we need to do is actually blend it with the image itself. So we've put the color in. If we go back to the image now, we can go down and you'll find image blend here. I'm going to switch it from normal to multiply. As you can see, that darkens down that image. It mixes that black background in with our image. And to have it more or less, simply go back to the color and take the opacity up and down. So that should actually work for us now. And while we're here, these blends with images, if you put a color in and an image, have got some fantastic settings. So if you're doing images, mix a color in there and use some of these settings, you can get some awesome effects. You really can. So that should have fixed all of our problems. Let's save this. Now we've debugged and we'll take another look. Save the page changes and exit the visual builder. There we go. So there's our little image with the guy with a magnifying glass with the title and an icon. And we'll hover over. There's our spin-in call to action button. And that should trigger just about anywhere we put it because of the margin offset. And there we go. And that's a nice little effect to have on your site. People are mousing around. Hover over that. That's going to get their attention pretty quickly. Okay, so there you have it, guys. There's how to have an image with title and icon. And when you hover over it, have a spin-in call to action button. Great, well that's working perfectly. Okay, have a look at our playlist below if you want to check out some of our other effects that we've got going on here. We've got some all kind of different pop-up things, and these are all built from scratch. And they're really easy to do. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.